Hi people, it's me Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today's video is a part 2 of my favorite underrated duologies. I did the part 1 to this in July or August of last year, so it's been a minute since I've talked about really underrated duologies, so I'm really excited to get into this video. The first duology that I'd like to talk about is the All the Stahls and Teeth duology written by Adalyn Grace. This duology is YA fantasy. If you didn't know, All the Stahls and Teeth was one of my favorite books of 2020, and the sequel, All the Tides of Fate, which I read recently last month, was one of my most anticipated 2021 releases. This duology is so good. It's YA fantasy and follows a young girl who's been training to become queen her entire life, and to do this, she must participate in a magical demonstration. However, when her magical demonstration goes awry, she must flee the country and just go on a quest to prove her right to the throne. I think this duology is absolutely so good. The first book in this duology was so thrilling and so intriguing. I had no idea what was going to happen every single step of the way, and it truly kept me on my toes. I really enjoyed the world building, the action-packed, fast-paced plot, the character development, the romance. Every single element of this book is absolutely so good. And the sequel was also really good, and it definitely lived up to my expectations. You know what I mean? This duology is so good, and it's so underrated, and for what? And with that, I would highly recommend it. The next duology on this list is the Darius The Great duology. This duology is YA contemporary and follows a young boy named Darius who never quite feels like he is Iranian enough or American enough as a mixed race teenager, and when he goes on his first ever trip to Iran, he truly kind of feels out of place. You know what I mean? I really enjoy this book. I thought it was so well done. I really enjoyed how the author talked about being a mixed race teenager and never quite feeling like you're one race or the other, or never feeling like you're enough to be that race. You know what I mean? And as a mixed race individual myself, I think that this storyline can really resonate with so many people. You know what I mean? It's so good. This book is absolutely so good. And it also talked about mental health and sexuality. And the sequel to this book was also so good as well. This duology is so good. And it's so emotionally touching. And it was absolutely so good. This duology definitely exceeded all of my expectations. I'm not sure what I was expecting from it, but I definitely was not expecting to absolutely fall in love with this story, with this setting, with every single aspect and every single element of this story. This duology is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good, and like I said, it's so emotionally touching. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The next duology on this list is called the Fog Diver duology. This duology is middle-grade fantasy, and it's absolutely so good. It follows Chess as he and his group of friends go on a quest because Chess has a secret that could change everything. This duology is absolutely so good. I really enjoyed the setting, the world building, the well-developed characters. Their group dynamic is so wholesome and so cute, and I just really enjoyed it, and it's just so well done. The action-packed, fast-paced plot made for such a wonderful, thrilling, intriguing story, and with such well-developed characters. I was rooting for them every single step of the way. You know what I mean? Both books in this duology are both so good. They both have such action-packed, fast-paced plot, great world building, kind of different world building in both books. You know what I mean? They kind of move to a different place in the second book, so I really enjoyed the dichotomy of the settings compared with the first book, if that makes any sense. Essentially, both books in this series are both absolutely so good, and this duology is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The next duology on this list is called the Ink, Island, and Glass duology. This duology is YA historical fantasy, and it's absolutely so good. It follows this young girl who's from a world that was written into existence, and when her mom goes missing, she must venture into the real world, but she's never really been in before, to find her. This story is absolutely so good. I love the world building. I love the action-packed, fast-paced plot. The main character is so wonderful. I love how clever she is. I love her intelligence, and I just love her as a person. She seems like she would be the best friend for me, if that makes any sense. And I love her character development, and I love the romance. Like, this duology is so good. It's so good, and it's so underrated. And for what, I love reading historical fantasies because it's a mixture of two of my favorite genres, historical fiction and fantasy. And this author did such a great job blending the two together. You know, like, this duology is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good. It has such rich world building and such a rich setting, and I just really enjoyed it. And the sequel is also so good as well. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The last duology on this list, but certainly not the least, is the Into the Crooked Place duology written by Alexandra Christo. This duology is YA fantasy and follows 4 different characters who are all so different and distinct and well developed, and when one of them accidentally delivers a vial of dark magic and accidentally sparks a conflict, the greatest conflict in decades, the 4 of them must band together to save themselves and the world before it's too late. This duology is absolutely so good. I recently read the sequel, City of Spells, in the past few weeks, I think, and it was absolutely so good. I really enjoyed this duology because, like I said, the 4 characters are so well developed and so distinct. I really liked the romances that developed between a few of them. Like, this duology is so good. I really enjoyed the world building, the setting, the action-packed, fast-paced plot, the 4 well-developed characters, the well-developed romances, one of which is sapphic. We love to see it. This duology is so underrated, and for what, I just really enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed these books more than To Kill a Kingdom, you know what I mean, which is the author's debut book, and I think that that's the book that most people associate her with, but more people should associate her with this series because this series is absolutely so good, and I'm so excited to see what this author will write next because this duology is so good and it's so underrated, and for what. So with that, I would highly recommend it. So in conclusion, I hope that these book reviews are helpful, and I hope that you will genuinely check out these duologies because they're all so good. So essentially, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the balloon emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.